I'm here with Jeremy Ray Taylor. Yeah, started London Calling. I think people probably know you best from it or Goosebumps, but I
Yep.
gotta say, really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. It had like a, this movie's got a very specific comedic tone to it, and that's the a-hole, but the funny a-hole. And everyone in this movie kind of seems to be making the same movie. Or when you get together in an ensemble like this, what kind of goes on with that? Because obviously, like you'll read the script and you'll have your own way you get into the character, but for all the characters to kind of mesh in the same way, how does that work?
Yeah, I think that Alan just had a really good time casting everyone, and I think that he nailed it. And so I think that definitely, I think that's a great point that every actor comes with their own idea of what the story needs to go or how the line needs to be delivered. And definitely everybody agreed. I didn't even think about that. That's such a great point. And so, yeah, I think that Alan and Josh were very collaborative. And so we all got to discuss exactly what would go down in each scene because some things that make sense on paper don't necessarily make sense when you're actually acting them out. And so, yeah, everybody was very collaborative and open to getting it done. And I think it's such a great story to tell. And it was written so well that nobody could disagree.
Yeah, and yours and Josh's chemistry in this is through the roof, and yours and Rick Hoffman, who plays your dad, is the exact opposite of that, but also in
Yeah.
a pretty interesting way. What was it like working with those two dynamics?
Yeah, absolutely. Working with Rick was really interesting. He has a very unique comedy style. So I had to learn how to cater to that a little bit. He's very fast. And so that was something that was new to me. And working with Josh was absolutely incredible. People keep asking about like our chemistry and what we did off camera to build that, but nothing. I mean, Josh is just an amazing guy and it just clicked. And as soon as we met each other, it just worked. And we had some really great conversations before Iver even was attached. And we both had the same goal with it. So it just worked out great.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Rick Fast, which makes sense watching it, but I'm not an actor, so like, what, I guess from an actor's perspective, what's that like? The challenges, or maybe it makes it easier. I don't know, but what's that
Yeah,
like?
I think when it's very quick, you definitely have to know your lines, is the thing, right? There's sometimes a buffer between lines, and you have time to think about exactly what you're going to say. Not with Rick. He wants you on the very tail of his line just to get that out. And so that was interesting. Although it was a challenge, it was cool. And I'm always open to learning from very seasoned actors, which Aiden Gillen, Rick, and Josh are all of that for sure. So it was an honor and it was very a great experience.
Yeah. And you've been at this acting thing for quite a while, pretty young age. So this is kind of a weird question, but normally I would ask like what kind of tools you picked up. What could you do like in London Calling, for instance, that you couldn't do in like Ant-Man, like
Right,
the Jeremy Ray Taylor and Ant-Man couldn't do. But I
right.
guess that kind of makes sense because you were so much younger then. But what's it like growing up within this business and in this craft?
Yeah, I think that this movie gave me an opportunity to put what I've been practicing off camera a lot actually, to work. And so it wasn't necessarily that I picked up anything from this. I think this was actually just like finally my chance to show off what I'm capable of and what I want to do with my career. I want to step into the action comedy style more often, and this is what I want to do at the end of the day. And so, yeah, I think it was less of things that I picked up on and more just working with these seasoned actors and picking up on what they do.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of your career, looks like you got a directorial debut, Unarmed Divide, coming out. What can you tell us about that and when can I see it? Because I'm very interested to see what you come through with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think that's like publicly released anywhere. I don't think that we were able to find a way to do that, but that was done by mine and my family's production company. It's called Sling and Stone. And yeah, Unarmed Divide was a short film about military and PTSD and transitioning back to home life. They say that whenever you start to write and direct, write what you know. And my whole family is very military oriented. My brother was in the military. My other brother was in the military, both my grandfathers, all that kind of stuff. And so that was what we wanted to do. That film has a very deep place in my heart.
Is directing something you want to do more of in the future, or did you do, was that a taste and was like, nope, I'm good, I tried it, we're moving on?
It's a little bit of both. It was definitely very different, obviously, and I did not act in Unarmed Divide at all. That was just directing for me, and it was definitely more of a challenge. And I don't know if I'm ready for that yet, for sure. I think that it is something that I would like to do, and I like producing, and I'm good at laying ideas out on the table, but fleshing them out fully is not my specialty. It's just coming up with it and then sometimes executing it in front of the camera. And so, yeah, I would love to direct at some point for sure, but I'm humble enough to know that I'm not good at it yet. So I'll have to take some time. I'm very happy with how Unarmed Divide turned out, obviously. And obviously, you can do it better always the second time. But yes, directing is something that I would like to do in the future for sure.
Well, you got to dip your toe in it a bit and then maybe
Yeah.
ease into it later on. But London Calling will be in theaters on September 19th. It's an incredibly fun film. But before I let you go, I want to get a movie recommendation from you. Something that's either personal to you or something that you're like, this movie's really good and no one talks about it.
Man, I'm pretty shallow when it comes to my movie recommendations, but my favorite movie ever really just came out. It's called F1 with Brad Pitt. That was incredible. Super, super well executed. I'm a huge car enthusiast, so obviously that kind of worked for me. And then before F1 was Ford versus Ferrari. If you haven't checked that out, whether you're a car enthusiast or not, it's an incredible story. It tells a beautiful story of how Shelby's collaboration with Ford went down, and it's a beautiful story. It's beautifully shot and it's beautifully told.
Yeah, I've not seen F1 yet, but Ford v Ferrari definitely ruined racing movies for me.
Yeah.
Every time we put out like Gran Turismo was great, but I was
Yep.
watching it the whole time. I'm like, I was watching Ford v Ferrari.
Yep. Well, F1 hit for me for sure. I would definitely recommend that for sure.
Nice. Well, Jeremy, congratulations on the movie. It's really entertaining. Hope
Thank
everyone
you.
gets to see it. Especially, I can imagine this would go well in a packed theater. And yeah, congratulations. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah. Thank you so much.